Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends, Wooden Railway Adventures, Episode 130, Planes, Cranes, and Games. Sir Topham had recently constructed an airport on the island of Sodor, and it looked marvelous. Every day the engines would come and watch the jet plane do takeoffs and landings. The airport itself was very nice. There was a large hangar at the end, and a nice long runway so that the jet plane could do nice takeoffs and landings. One day Wilbert was coming down the track. He was running ahead of schedule, so his driver let him stop. Said Wilbert. I've only seen the airport from a distance. Wow, it is nice and big. The engines weren't lying after all. Just then, the jet plane rolled up. Hello, said Wilbert. What's your name? I'm Jeremy, said the jet plane. Who are you? I'm Wilbert. It's nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too, said Jeremy. Do you like the airport? I do, said Wilbert. It is nice and very big. Do you like it here? Of course I do, said Jeremy. Making trips to the mainland is so much fun. Well, that's nice to hear, said Wilbert. Hey, have you ever heard of a biplane? A biplane, said Jeremy. Of course. No, said Wilbur. The biplane. The biplane? Said Jeremy. I'm not sure. The one that lives on Sodor here, said Wilbur. Tiger Moth. I've heard of the name, said Jeremy, but I've never met him. Yes, said Wilbur. I don't find that surprising at all. The airfield's on the other side of the island. Tiger Moth's a biplane, and unfortunately he's very annoying. Jeremy laughed. Aren't all biplanes annoying? He said. I guess you're right about that, said Wilbur. But never mind. You should meet him. Maybe you two can get along. Have you met him before? Said Jeremy. Yes, said Wilbur. A long time ago. And let's just say things ended badly between us. Anyway, if you have any free time, you should stop over by the airfield. I'm sure Tiger Moth would love some company. I would if I had the time, said Jeremy, but I have a very strict timetable. Oh, look at that. I have to leave. Well, sorry, Wilbur. It's been nice talking to you. Nice talking to you too, said Wilbur. You're very kind, Jeremy. The island of Sodor needs more engines like you. Well, thank you, Wilbur, said Jeremy. Well, I have to be off. Goodbye. Goodbye, said Wilbur. Jeremy backed up and he soon zoomed down the runway and up into the sky. Wow, said Wilbur. That was incredible. Jeremy's a very nice jet. Wonder what Tiger Moth will think about this. Later that day, Wilbert stopped by the airfield. Tiger Moth was there and he was resting. Hello, Tiger Moth, said Wilbur. Go away, said Tiger Moth crossly. I'm trying to sleep here. Why are you trying to sleep? said Wilbert crossly. It's the middle of the day. I've done a lot of flying these past couple days, he said. John, just leave me alone. No, said Wilbur. I want to talk to you about something. Talk to me about what? Have you heard about the airport on the other island of Sodor? On the other side of the island of Sodor? How could I not? Said Tiger Moth crossly. That's all you engines talk about. How big it is, how grand it is, how the runway's nice, how that jet plane's so big. I'm sick of hearing about it. Well, it's true, said Wilbur. I talked to the jet plane earlier today. He's very nice. Whatever, said Tiger Moth. Biplanes are the best. I don't know, said Wilbur. Jeremy is big and fast. He flies very nicely in the sky. I bet I could do better than him. Whatever, said Wilbur. Anyway, you should go over there and talk to him sometime. I don't know, said Tiger Moth. I prefer to stay here at the airfield. Well, said Wilbur, Jeremy for sure can't come over here. He's always busy. He said he has a strict timetable. And your runway's a little bit small, if you get my meaning. The runway here's just fine, said Tiger Moth crossly. Go away, Wilbur. Now you're just insulting me. I'm not, said Wilbur. Tiger Moth, don't be grumpy. Remember, we agreed to put our differences behind us a few years ago. You're right, said Tiger Moth. I'm sorry, Wilbur. It's just, well, I don't know. Anyway, said Wilbur, you two should become friends. You should stop over there sometime. I don't know, said Tiger Moth. Jeremy, he's a little bit big. He's a little bit big to be my friend. Big friends come big or small, said Wilbur. Just get over it, Tiger Moth. You know what? I know what you guys could do to become friends. What? Said Tiger Moth crossly. You guys should have a race. A race? Yeah, said Wilbur, like a competition. Said Tiger Moth. I don't know if that would be fair. I would definitely beat Jeremy for sure. This took Wilbert by surprise. I don't know, Tiger Moth. Jeremy's very quick, and well, he's a jet plane, and you're kind of a wimpy biplane. Nonsense, said Tiger Moth. Anyway, Wilbert, go away. Nah, said Wilbert. You guys should really get to know each other. You guys might become best friends, or we could become the worst enemies, said Tiger Moth. Anyway, said Wilbur, if you have any free time, you should stop over there. You don't have to race, just to get to know him. Jeremy's very nice. I don't know, said Tiger Moth. Maybe. You know what, Wilbur? You're right. I'm going to stop over there, and I will challenge him to a race. Whoa, said Wilbur. I didn't really mean it like that. Jeremy's going to beat you anyway. Nah, said Tiger Moth. I'm a biplane. Biplanes can do anything, if you get my meaning. Yeah, said Wilbur, even if that means crashing into everything possible on the island of Sodor. Hey, said Tiger Moth, I haven't been grounded for 2 weeks. That's almost a new record. Whatever, said Wilbur. Anyway, I have to go, but if you have some time, stop by the airport. And can you promise me not to challenge him to any races? I promise, said Tiger Moth. Yeah, said Wilbur. I doubt that. Anyway, I have to be off. Goodbye, Tiger Moth. Goodbye, Wilbur, said Tiger Moth. And with that, Wilbur puffed away. I'm going to stop by the airport tomorrow morning, said Tiger Moth, and I'm going to challenge Jeremy to a race. The next day, Wilbur and Jeremy were talking. Jeremy had a few spare minutes before he had to leave with his passengers. I tried talking to Tiger Moth yesterday, said Wilbur, but he didn't seem too interested. Oh, that's all right, said Jeremy. I rarely have free time. This is one of the few moments where I don't have anything to do. Oh, bother. Look, here are the passengers. I suppose I must take them now. And he was right. The passengers soon climbed aboard and were comfortable. Well, I'm sorry I can't talk longer, said Jeremy. Wilbur, it's been nice chatting with you. Indeed, said Wilbur. I'll come by later today and see if you're available. All right, said Jeremy. Well, I better be off. Just then, the two heard a buzzing noise. Oh, bother, said Wilbur. Here comes Tiger Moth, and he was right. Tiger Moth raced down the runway and skidded to a stop. Hello, Jeremy, he said. Are you Tiger Moth? Said Jeremy. Huh, said Tiger Moth. A jet plane that doesn't know who I am. Huh, figures. Jet planes aren't the brightest of all planes, if you get my meaning. Tiger Moth, said Wilbur crossly. Don't be rude. Jeremy, yes, this is Tiger Moth. Tiger Moth, this is Jeremy. I already know that, said Tiger Moth. Now, Jeremy, how about that race? What race? Said Jeremy. Oh, dear, said Wilbur. Tiger Moth, I didn't mean it literally. It was more of a metaphor of sorts. It wasn't a metaphor, said Tiger Moth. It was the perfect idea. Jeremy, how about a race? I can't, laughed Jeremy. I have passengers to take to the mainland. Now, if you would please excuse me. But Tiger Moth wouldn't budge. Huh, he said. Yellow Belly. What'd you just call me? I said Yellow Belly. You're just a chicken. You're all talk, no show. You're the one to talk, said Wilbur crossly. Tiger Moth, move out of the way. Jeremy needs to leave. I'm not leaving here without a race. I can't race, said Jeremy, and I wouldn't if I had the time. Tiger Moth, please move. I'm going to be late. But Tiger Moth wouldn't. Just then a man stepped out of the control tower. Tiger Moth, he yelled, move out of the way. Tiger Moth obeyed, and he stepped off to the side. That's a good biplane, said the man, and he walked away. Well, said Jeremy, I best be off. Tiger Moth, it's been nice meeting you. Huh, said Tiger Moth. He didn't say anything. Goodbye, Wilbur, said Jeremy. Goodbye, said Wilbur. And with that, Jeremy raced down the runway and was off. Just then, Tiger Moth did something very astonishing. He stepped onto the runway and his propeller began to spin. What are you doing? Asked Wilbur. I'm going after Jeremy, he said. I came here for a race and I'm not leaving until I get one. Tiger Moth, said Wilbur, don't do it. Something's going to happen. Oh, you bet something's going to happen. I'm going to beat Jeremy in a race. And with that, he raced down the runway after Jeremy. Oh, bother, said Wilbur. I guess I should go alert the fire crew to be on call in case something happens. And with that, Wilbur puffed away very quickly. Soon, Jeremy was high in the sky. Wow, he said. So, the island of Sodor is so beautiful. There's Arthur down there, along with Whiff and Derek and a couple other engines. I wonder what they're doing down there. It seems like Arthur's always at the brown turntable in the yard around noon. There's some engines at Knapford Station. Oh, Rosie with old Slow Coach. Nice to see her. Boko at the oil depot. Spencer in his shed. That's not surprising at all for sure. Duck with freight cars. James with the coach. Oh, we're at the quarry. Bill and Ben. Oh, they seem to be arguing at something. There are the diesels in their shed. I've seen that sight too many times. Oh, look, it's Wilbur. I wonder what he's doing at the fire station. Oh, look, it's Thomas. He must have just arrived at Ellsbridge Station. He said to Jeremy, the island of Sodor is so beautiful. Just then, the pilot spoke up. Come on, Jeremy, he said. It's time that we head back to the mainland so we can drop off these passengers. You're right, said Jeremy. But just then, Jeremy heard a high-pitched buzzing noise. What's that? Asked the pilot. Uh-oh, said Jeremy. We have company. And Jeremy was right. Tiger Moth was neck and neck with Jeremy. What are you doing here? Said Jeremy. Nothing, said Tiger Moth. I just want to challenge you to a race. I don't have time for a race, said Jeremy. Tiger Moth, go away for the last time. I have to take these passengers to the mainland. Oh, come on, said Tiger Moth. Fine, then I'll just follow you to the mainland, and then we can race on the way back. I don't have time for this, said Jeremy. Tiger Moth, please go away. Nonsense, said Tiger Moth. And you're flying a little too close to me for my own comfort zone, said Jeremy crossly. And that was all Jeremy had to say. Tiger Moth accidentally hit Jeremy in the wing. Whoa, said Jeremy. What's happening, said the pilot. Nothing, said Jeremy. It's just, well, we have an annoying biplane off to our left. Hey, said Tiger Moth. I'm not annoying. And he accidentally hit Jeremy again. Whoa, said Jeremy. The passengers were very unhappy. What's going on out there, they said. "Oh, just turbulence," said the pilot. "Jeremy, we have to stop this. I'm trying to, but Tigermoth keeps on bumping into me." And he was right. Tigermoth would not stop the bumping. "Stop it," said Jeremy. "I'm losing altitude." And he was right. Jeremy and Tigermoth were growing lower and lower. "Sorry," said Tigermoth. "I'm losing control too." "Whoa, whoa, hang on." The two planes were out of control. "Mayday, mayday," called the pilot. "We need to make an emergency landing." "Indeed," said Jeremy. "Do we have time to get to the airport?" "No," said the pilot. "Look, there's a field over there by the docks. We might have to land there." "All right," said Jeremy. "We need to do it quick." "Tigermoth, stop bumping into me." I'm not meaning to," said Tigermoth. It's just, I'm out of control." "So am I," said Jeremy. "Here we go." And with that, they zoomed toward the docks. Sir Topham Hatt was waiting there with Salty. "Well, Salty," said Sir Topham Hatt, that's a very interesting story about pirates." "Aye, sir," said Salty. "The moral of this story is to never play with pirates. You understand?" "I understand," laughed Sir Topham Hatt. Just then the two heard a very unusual noise. "What is that?" said Salty. "I'm not sure," said Sir Topham Hatt. "It sounds like a plane, but it's too deep to be a biplane." Sir Topham Hatt looked up. "It's Jeremy!" "You're right," said Salty. He had looked up as well. "And there's Tigermoth. Wonder what those two are doing." "I don't know," said Sir Topham Hatt, "but Jeremy should already be at the mainland." "Agreed," said Salty. "Oh dear, sir, something's not right." "Whoa, Tigermoth just bumped into Jeremy." "Oh no, the two are out of control." "Help! Help! Watch out, Colin! Watch out, Cranky! The two are heading right for the dogs!" "Oh no!" cried Sir Topham Hatt. "Watch out, everybody! Watch out, everybody!" And he was right. The first plane to come in was Jeremy, and he was out of control. "Whoa!" cried Jeremy. As he made a crash landing into the field. "Oh," he said. "Oh, I don't feel so good." Jeremy was badly damaged. Sir Topham Hatt was very cross. "Jeremy," he said, "what is the meaning of this? Why were you flying so low?" "I can explain, sir," said Jeremy, "but—" "Watch out!" said Bulstrode. "Everybody, take cover! Here comes Tigermoth!" And he was right. Tigermoth was out of control, too. "Ah!" cried Tigermoth. "I can't stop! I can't stop! Oh! Don't worry, everybody. I can make a safe landing." "Oh, dear," said Sir Topham Hatt. "Here we go." And he was right. Tigermoth narrowly missed the water tower, smashed into the signal, and was caught in Cranky's hook before he knew it. He spun around helplessly. "Oh," he said. "Oh, what happened?" A few moments later, Cranky lowered Tigermoth down, and he was placed in the field next to Jeremy. Sir Topham Hatt was most upset. "You two," he said, "what is the meaning of this?" "I can explain, sir," said Jeremy. Just then, Jeremy's passengers got up. They were furious and looked very unhappy. "Oh dear," said Sir Topham Hatt. I must attend to these passengers at once." "Oh, look, here comes Douglas." "Douglas," he said, "my good engine, can I use that spare coach you have for these passengers?" "Yes, sir," said Douglas. "Take them to MC Bunn and tell the owner there that I'll pay for whatever they want. Just tell them to make them very happy. Understood?" "Yes, sir," said Douglas. The passengers climbed into the coach and Douglas rushed away. "All right," said Sir Topham Hatt. "Now back to important matters. Jeremy, your side of the story first." "Well, sir, I was trying to take off this morning and, well, Tigermoth landed in front of me. He wouldn't move, and the guy at the control tower had to tell him to get out of the way." Said Sir Topham Hatt. And then when I reached cruising altitude, Tigermoth came up, and he started flying next to me. He bumped into me, and soon we were both out of control, and, well, I had to make a crash landing in this field over here. I'm very sorry, sir. I promise, I swear, it won't happen again." Said Sir Topham Hatt. "I see. Well, Tigermoth, your side of the story?" "I got nothing, sir," said Tigermoth. "I was being a very silly biplane, and I caused all this." "It seems like you did," said Sir Topham Hatt. "Jeremy, you seem to have done nothing at fault here, and I'm sorry that you've been completely destroyed. I will be paying for your repairs. As for you, Tigermoth, you might as well own up to your pilot and have him pay for your repairs, as I will not. Understood?" "Yes, sir," said the two planes. They were both very upset. "I'm sorry, Jeremy," said Tigermoth. "I didn't mean to end like this. I was just trying to have some fun." "I understand," said Jeremy. "But Tigermoth, you just need to know when there's an appropriate time to play." "Exactly," said Sir Topham Hatt. "You two are planes. Planes can be dangerous, unfortunately. Unfortunately, there's no appropriate time for games like these. Do you two understand?" "Yes, sir," said the planes. "Well, Jeremy, I'll say it again. I'm sorry. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. Can we at least be friends?" "Agreed," said Jeremy. "We can be friends after all."